Hey everyone, it's Michelle Belisari with In the Hive with Michelle B. So happy that you're here and thanks for buzzing by. I love doing industry interviews with influencers around the world that can share their tips and strategies with you and me in regard to what's going on in real estate, marketing, and branding that will help us all sell more property. The other thing is, please make sure to buzz by sipsocialsell.com. I have new blog posts every week there. Follow me at the Michelle B for tips on how to grow your Instagram account. And if you are interested in becoming a listing niche expert, I have a new course that's up on the website, so check that out. I'm so happy that you're here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and make sure you follow my guests as well. Have a great day and let's get started. Hey everyone. How are you today? It is a fabulous Thursday today. I hope you are doing well. And I wanted to jump on today because I am doing one of my interviews with someone who's an influencer in our real estate industry. And every week I'll be jumping on with In the Hive with Michelle B, which is my podcast. And we're recording here on Instagram. And one of the things I'm going to do real quick, recording this, because sometimes Instagram doesn't save your lives. You can share them to IGTV. You can download or delete. I had an amazing interview with the fabulous Paige Schulte last week. I think it was last week or right before Thanksgiving. Instagram did not save my video. So if you want to save an interview on live like this, screen record it. All right. I have the fantastic David Greenspan coming on. He is very cool. I was on his podcast recently. He also just spoke at the National Association of Realtors. And I'm going to bring him on so we can talk a little bit about Mindshare and some top of mind things that you can do weekly, monthly, or as we roll into a new year of this recording, things that you can do. So I'm going to bring him on real quick, my friend from Toronto. Going live. Don't you love this? All the options that we have on all these channels now, it's just fantastic. I love it. Good morning.
What's going on? How are you?
What's going on? How are you? Let me turn up my volume just a little bit here.
Yeah, it's crazy. You were a lot louder before, and now all of a sudden we've gone together here. Everything's quieted down, but that's okay.
No, that was me. I probably turned it low because, like most people in the morning, I roll over and look at my phone, and my husband's sleeping. I'm like, shit, I better turn this like low. Although he will be the first one to say he's a boat captain. He can't hear. So what am I worried about? I'm just like, well, he doesn't hear anything.
This feels so Boca today. I wish I had some palm trees outside my window like you probably have with yours. Instead, we've got
how do you like
temperatures and snow everywhere? And
how do you like my fake library?
Yeah. Oh, is it fake? Eh? So you haven't actually read all those books.
It's a fake library. It's a backdrop I got from Amazon. If anybody wants the link, let me know. It's awesome. I'm so excited to have you on today. So we record on the Instagram lives for the podcast. So I'm going to open it as if you're on my podcast. I'm going to let you kind of run and tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I kind of queued it up a little bit. And we're going to talk about what I was thinking is 3 top of mind things that real estate agents can do now as we roll into 2021. So here we go. Hey guys, it's Michelle Belisari with In the Hive with Michelle B. And I'm so glad that you guys are here today. We're recording this on Instagram, and I have a great guest today, David Greenspan from Toronto, Canada. Oh, Canada. My homeland, really. So welcome to the show, my friend.
It is a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation. I know we did this a few weeks back on the Mindshare podcast. Now we're getting to do it over here. I really wish we can do this in person one day. Trust me, I'm happy to come down there.
Anytime. And you know what? I have a feeling we're going to see a few more of these conferences end up in Florida.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to that because, again, like I said, you guys got palm trees and we don't.
Yeah, we do. We also have hurricanes 6 months out of the year. We also have cockroaches that you can ride and a few other nasty things.
Ooh, this is
I
true.
know.
Can you just
Now,
send me a palm tree, maybe? Just ship it up this way?
I will send you a pomfron. How about that? So I love the fact, first of all, if you guys don't know, I'm originally from Canada. I lived outside of Toronto and London. Um, David has a friendship with my uncle in Toronto, which we didn't know that until we started to connect on, oh, shocker, social media. And that was really cool. And so we started to chat a little bit as both of us were presenting for the National Association of Realtors recently. And you did it on podcasting, which I know was very wildly popular. Mine was on becoming a local influencer. So we kind of tag team together, just brainstorming, sharing notes, sharing like some due dates. We're not even. I'm not even going to go there at this point.
Keeping each other on the ball, making sure that things were happening when they were supposed to happen.
Oh my God! Let's just put it this way. Thank God for you. When I went, that was due today. Oh my God!
Well,
And that was the end of that
you gave
story.
me insights into what to be prepared for when we went into production mode. So that was also a good
Oh,
thing,
that's
right?
true. That
Yeah.
is true. And it was a little. It wasn't complicated. It was just there was a lot of steps that we needed to do for NAR to get this recording done. And I did it once and it was a complete failure. So we rescheduled it, but I was able to share, oh, this is what is we need to do. So the second time I was like on fire with my fake background.
Well, it looks great. If you didn't say it was fake, I mean, not paying attention, it looks like you're reading a lot of books.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so introduce yourself to my audience, and then we'll just jump right into some things that these agents can do. They're getting bombarded right now with so much. You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to. Let's talk about the mind. And I think this is like the perfect timing for you to be able to share just a few things to help people settle in a little bit and move forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is it's interesting. I literally like moments before we jumped on here, I just finished a keynote for one of the associations up here, and we talked about the path of least resistance. And it's funny because it's actually a version of one of the keynotes that I did at Inman a couple of years ago in New York, San Fran. I don't remember anymore.
One of them.
However, when we look at where we're at today, now, first of all, for everybody that as you said, do an introduction. I am a diehard Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I love my hockey. I live and breathe hockey, and I am from Canada. I will say though, what I do is I help everybody build Mindshare, and really what that comes down to is it's becoming a top of mind, intuitive, instinctive reaction to a product or service. So think about what you do for a living. Let me give you an example, right? Think about what you do for a living, and then ask yourself, how do people connect that or connect me with that? Right? So if we did say, like, Michelle, if I asked you the question, I say running shoes, what's the first company you think of?
Nike.
I say soda pop, what's the first thing you think of? Company.
Coke.
If I said fast food, what's the first company you think of?
Mickey D's.
Everybody just did the exact same three answers. Okay? And that's what you call mind share. So it's much the same. And you and I talked about this on the podcast about building that hyper-local brand. And when I brought you up yesterday in my other podcast because we were talking yesterday about how to become a community go-to expert with a guy by the name of Ryan Smith, owns a company, but his whole thing is like he's incredibly passionate about farming. And we're talking like neighborhood farming, right?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are not passionate about. But this guy really is. We were diving into that whole idea around how to become that community go-to expert. And I said, I brought up our talk, and I said, when I think of my friend Michelle, or I think of Boca Raton, Florida, I think of my friend Michelle, right? And that's just it. So it's like, for me, if I've got to think to myself, I'm going to Florida, I'm going to Boca. There's nobody else I would call to, Michelle, where do I go to eat? Where do I go to stay? Where do I go to, whatever, shopping? You're building that brand. So now we come back to my goal is to help everybody build Mindshare every single day. And so again, the question to everybody watching is, what are you doing to build Mindshare for your business every day? How are you becoming that top of mind, intuitive, instinctive reaction? So, 16 years ago, this started off as just a marketing company. And I don't want to say just a marketing company. This thing's still pumping along. It is the complete machine right now. It includes everything from CRM to, keep in touch, newsletters and emails and social media content and websites and the whole gamut of how you get out there and use various channels to build your business. Because we're also overloaded with time, and we're also overwhelmed by how many different things there are to do, especially in the world that we live in, right? The shoes that we walk in this real estate industry, there's a lot to do every day. We're wearing many, many hats, and we really are the CEOs of our own business. So how do we manage it all? How do we get out there and build more relationships? How do we create more opportunities? That all comes back to building Mindshare. And so it took us from this, just this marketing company into full-on coaching agents. Everything from large scale keynotes, speaking on stages, 1 hour, 2 hour training sessions, group coaching sessions, and right down to one-to-one coaching. And I'm now working with a ton of different clients from across North America, doing one-to-one coaching with them, and helping people reason through their challenges. Because look, we're all faced with something in a day. That something is going to be quite different. And then again, the way we operate and what's going on in our minds is really going to affect the way we get the outcomes and the successes we're looking for. Right? So this really comes down to, what is your process every single day? What is your DMO? What are you doing? What are you trying to achieve? And I mean, that's the bigger picture around it all. But ultimately, I would tell you, I mean, there's that famous line, right? Work hard, play hard. We've all heard that. I say play hard, work hard.
Yeah.
Right? We want to fit in the play before the work. And there's a lot of people that look and go, well, if you do that, you're going to be playing all day. Well, that's what I try to do. So how do you get anything done? We manage our time accordingly. So the big picture is, for us, at least what we're doing on this end is we're helping people achieve the success that they are looking for.
So here we are coming off of an incredibly, wickedly sad, challenging year. There's been some silver lining moments for many agents because markets have been crazy good. Not every agent is doing crazy good, by the way, for a number of reasons. And let me just throw out there, some of who may have had COVID themselves. That's going to definitely throw a real loop into an already challenging situation of having to do now virtual showings. Maybe you were not that virtual before. Maybe you're an older agent like me. I'm midlife. I'm 58, and I love to jump on new things, but that's not typically the norm. How do you help segue the mindset, which I always say, if you look in the rearview mirror, you're never going to be able to move forward. And that was my 2012 was like, 2010 to 2012 was like that. And finally, I had to just realize I just had to sort of start moving forward and not look at the negative stuff because it was just terrible. So how can you share your tips with agents now going, okay, we've been through 2020. It is time to move through to 2021. Not forget, but we got to kind of come up with these visions now. So what are some things that you can share with agents that they can do so that their mindset is in a good place, in a healthy place?
Hey, the first thing I'll start off with is get off your social media and get off your email first thing in the morning. Okay, you want to get your mind right. Get your mind right before you allow other people to pollute your mind when you first wake up in the morning. Okay, that is one of the most powerful. And look, don't get me wrong. You and I both, we operate a lot on social media. We do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Again, the key here, though, is before we go and do anything with social, which is, again, other people's thoughts, other people's opinions, what we want to do is get our mind right. And it starts every day with having a proper morning routine. And I know a lot of people look and go, oh, this is so fluffy. But I'll tell you, I like to drink my water. I like to get some vitamin D in me. I like to read my book. I like to collect my thoughts, because what happens at that point is, once I'm done that, hey, world, you better watch out. I am roaring. I am warm. This is like going and playing sports. And I don't just coach real estate. I coach a hockey team. I coach a baseball team. But you do not get out onto the ice or onto the field and just go full bore. You get there early, and you warm up, and you do your stretches, and you get yourself prepared so that by the time the puck drops or the first pitch is there, or they kick the ball for football, whatever the sport you're playing is, you're nimble, you're warm, you're fresh, you're mentally prepared. So the first thing here, first thing is have a proper morning routine. which parlays to the nighttime routine. Do not check social media as the last thing you do at night. Why are you going to bed with other people's thoughts in your mind? Go to bed with your thoughts in your mind, right? So you start the day on your note, you end the day on your note. In between it all, sure, you can tap into the world. And that's part of building mind shares, connecting with other people, engaging in social media properly. If you're watching this right now, throw a comment in there, right?
Yes.
Get engaged. But again, that part of it is let's start our days the right way. And that's our first key to having the right mindset.
I think that's fantastic. And I think that might go along with some old routines that many of us have, like turning on, like we watch the Today Show. Turning on the Today Show is very familiar. It's almost comforting for us to watch people that we've been watching forever. But sometimes the news is just so negative. It's hard to like start your day. And one of the things when I came back from Thanksgiving is that I went, okay, the COVID-19, the weight needs to come off. I need to get healthy. I need to start walking. I set a goal for myself to do steps every day. And I'm finding just within the 4 or 5 days that I started that as more of a routine in the morning and not going nuts on email first thing or social, it's helping. Now, that's not to say I'm not on there, but I'm noticing that I'm backing away from it so early in the morning. So it's helping a lot.
That's all I'm saying. Get yourself prepared before you jump into the game. Because we know it, especially with the way we operate. We're in the game all day.
All day.
But there's got to come a moment where we relax.
Right? Yeah, and you know that I will tell you, and I don't know if any agents are watching today. One of the things where I was able to just chill out and relax, even though occasionally I would have some work to do, is when I could travel. So when travel stopped, all of a sudden which I didn't realize, my downtime almost went away, like 100%. And when we went away for Thanksgiving, I said to my husband, I said, you know what, you guys have to make me go do stuff or I'll work all day. And that's not healthy either.
It's not. And this is where first I want to go backwards for 1 sec here and make a realization around 2020. Nobody expected what happened.
No.
Nobody. And it has been a ride and a half. But just like we said, if we're always looking in the rearview mirror, how are we going to move forward?
Right.
And so I look at 2020 and I say, instead of lamenting on it, instead of looking back and going, what happened? And yes, we all put on a little bit of extra COVID weight. I mean, I remember earlier on in COVID, I put in a post and I said to people, I'm like, I dare you to put on blue jeans today, right? You know what I mean?
That's my scale now.
Oh, wow. I don't even want to go near that right now.
That is my scale now.
Okay. You, me, and like everybody else, right? The other thing it did was it forced us to get more on camera and get more involved in stuff. Now, let's look at some of the other positives, though, right? And this is going to transition us into things we can do now to be better for 2021.
Perfect, because I'm making notes.
Let's look at time, okay? Let's look at connection points with people we know. Let's look at relationships. When COVID hit and we were all on lockdown, and again, some people went through it and some people did not get sick. We all know the story there. But when that happened and everybody went into isolation, we stopped seeing people. We stopped doing the normal thing of being out there with people. And remember, just before COVID, it's funny, I'm looking for my phone. I'm like, where's my phone? I'm on my phone.
I know, I do it all the time.
But it's that thing of like, we'd be walking down the road or somewhere and it would be like this all the time, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying that society is going to drastically change out of that. But here's the thing that was crazy was, again, we complained about the fact that everybody's got their heads down and we complained about not having enough time. Yet, all of a sudden, what did COVID do? COVID forced us to spend more time with family. COVID forced us to be able to take more time to enjoy the things that we want to do in life. COVID, when people started to go back out of their houses and we would see our neighbors, and especially here in Toronto, where we started off in the cold part of the year, right, with COVID. And we transitioned into the spring. When the spring started coming along and there was less people driving, less people doing, all of a sudden there's more people walking along the sidewalk. And instead of having their heads down, what did they do? Hey. And they would smile and they would wave and we'd look at each other. So COVID actually painted an opportunity to create better relationships. It created the opportunity to be able to embrace more with family. It created the opportunity to now say, hey, guess what? You can't go to the house. You can't go to the coffee shop, go to the gym and do the things you normally do. You better figure out a way to do this type of stuff where you tap into that lens on your phone or on your computer and actually connect with other individuals. Hey, for those of you that don't like to pick up the phone and make phone calls, make your calls, right? And this is stuff that we talk about all the time in terms of building Mindshare. Video is part of it. Phone calls are part of it. Meeting people are part of it. But in all of the limitations that were imposed, there was a lot of opportunity and a lot of learning that also happened. So instead of looking back on the negative of it all, right, now what we want to do is go, what did I learn from this entire thing? And how can I move forward for 2021 to get better at what I do? Because, guys, none of us know how long this thing is going to last. We don't. Right? They're talking about vaccines. They're talking about all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping, I'm a true optimist. So I'm thinking once they roll out what they're supposed to be rolling out, maybe May of 2021, maybe. It's interesting though, because one of the things that, I do is I teach and train real estate agents how to use Instagram. Mm-hmm. And one of the continuing trends for Instagram is the human side of your business, whether that means being socially active in movements that are going on, supporting your nonprofits, being just you, not just a realtor. And I know one of the things that my younger daughter who lives at home and I were doing during this time is we would do like a happy hour on Facebook Live. And one, it helped us feel normal. And we could talk about food and cocktails, which we love to do under Boca anyway. And so that was the norm for us. And so I think if I'm hearing you, part of what you're saying is now that you have had to do certain things, you've somewhat humanized yourself because look, we're sitting at home with, okay, now we're getting good with backdrops and, but when we all first started doing all these Zoom things, you're like, damn, that person's messy in their house. That after that first Zoom call, they cleaned that shit up. And stuff like that.
And so look what we learned. We learned how to get better on camera.
Right.
We learned how to now go out and do virtual showings and virtual open houses.
Exactly.
We learned how to get better. So instead of, again, looking back on it and going, oh, man, it's, you know what?
This blows.
And I've heard this thing. In fact, on episode 100 of the Mindshare podcast, and I don't remember exactly the way I coined the line, but something I said was that the smartphone technology has really changed human behavior.
Yes.
COVID came along and amplified all of it.
Yeah.
Right? So we were already going down this path, but then COVID came and said, yeah, stop. You are forced to do it now. You are forced to get on camera. And look, I was just doing that keynote before.
Yeah.
Most people don't come on camera.
No.
Now, here's the cool thing. For those of us that do go on camera, guess what? Most people don't do it. You are ahead of the game.
Right.
And that's whether you screwed it up and you had big lights in the background by accident and you didn't realize what you're taking a step forward. You're learning how to be better at it. And by doing it more and more, consistency is a magic ingredient to achieving anything we want in life.
Right.
By doing it more and more, you get better at it. And so, yeah, now we got backdrops instead of our messy dishes, right? Now we've got the window in front of us instead of behind us. Little things, but look, grand scheme of it now, when we're building our brand out there, right, and humanizing ourselves, we actually look better. We look good. We look like we know a little bit more about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like we're a little bit more seasoned. And hell, you know what? I'll take it to the extent that could be your differentiating factor between somebody hiring you and somebody else, because you now know some of these steps and you've taken those steps to do it. And the beautiful thing, Michelle, the beautiful thing about it all too, is that everybody was forced to do it at the exact same time. And everybody was screwing up at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Right?
All of us.
Everybody. So there was a lot of people that still haven't done it. They're still scared of screwing up.
I know.
Yet there's other people that screwed up, figured out their way around it, and now they don't screw up anymore. And again, that's progression, right? That's progression. That's learning.
Yeah,
so
I think that's so valid. Such
right?
Good points about, okay, so here we are, and okay, we all were at the same starting point, and what are the takeaways? Beautifully said and wrapped up with a Christmassy bow, by the way. I love that. And, you know, with that being said, it's okay to not be perfect. And I think this is what, I mean, I say this all the time: use a filter, don't use a filter, get on camera, don't get on camera. If you don't want to be on camera, then here, I'll show you how to do short videos for Instagram stories, and coming out soon, YouTube shorts for all of us and stuff like that. You don't have to be on camera if you're not feeling it. That's okay. I mean, I'm not a fan of somebody saying you have to be on film and camera every day. I do stuff all the time, and you can look at my Instagram reels on Boca and here and see I have reels where I'm not in the reel, and they do really well. But if you're not feeling it, it's fine. You know, I think what we're both saying too is stop putting pressure on yourself that is an expectation that may not be able to be met right now.
Well, hence why you're not going to check social media first thing in the morning and last thing at night, because the first thing you're going to do is you're going to wake up, you're going to look at it, see what everybody else is doing, and go, I got to do that too.
I know.
I mean, I'll tell you, not this past NAR conference, but last year in NAR, actually physically there, finally.
Oh my.
In my friend, I presented on video as well. And part of it was, this ain't Hollywood. You don't need a big Hollywood production to get involved in video.
No.
But again, it's that thing of, you know, take advantage of it, leverage it, but you don't need to be the star of the show necessarily. I will say this too. I release a brand new video amongst all the video that I do. I release a brand new Mindshare 101 video every Monday. I'm on video number 236.
That's awesome.
Every time I put one out, I go, yeah, this is awesome, right? So I encourage everybody, check it out. You can find them on my Instagram, David Greenspan 101. You can go to my YouTube channel, Mindshare 101. But Michelle, now I look back at some of them, I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I put that out to the public, right? So it's just move on though. Don't dwell on it, because we all make mistakes, but we're all human. It gives a real connection with people. It allows people to connect with each other. It builds on relationship. And you know what? So it wasn't as good the last time. It'll get better. Again, consistency, right?
It does. You're absolutely right. And I go back and listen to my first podcast, and they're dumpster fires. Seriously, so bad. Like no script, nothing. Like absolutely zipperoonie. And I went to Podfest in 2019 and came back and I'm like, oh my God, how was I putting this stuff out there? But I left it on there because the interviews are actually fine. They're just not overly structured. They kind of go squirrely here and there. But
than the other people that didn't do it yet.
Right, exactly. And now they're better. Now they're better, because at the end of our interview, I have a couple of very specific questions to ask you that are fun.
Cool. Well, here, let's take that. Okay, let's take that now. So now we look back at 2020 and we go, all right, we learned. Forget about all the BS that transpired. Okay, we learned. Yeah. Let's move forward now, because learning, it's important that we take what we learned and we apply. Yeah. So as we apply now, we look to 2021. So again, measuring, right? If we don't measure, we cannot get better. Right. Let's look at goals for a minute. And I know everybody go, oh, here we go, goals. And I know I'm not the first guy to tell you. Trust me, I know. But I will tell you this. I am also the guy, and you can go scroll my Facebooks and my Instagrams to learn more about me. Okay. And I encourage you. Let's connect with each other, please. I will tell you, I'm that guy that years ago, I'd sit in the audience and go, okay, it's time to set goals. And they give you the workbook. And I'd be like, yeah. Break, hurry up, get on with this thing, setting goals, whatever. Yeah, I want to make $1 bajillion. I just want to take over the world, like Pinky in the Brain, right? That's where I want to be. Right. But how do you actually make that come to life? And I sat there, I would never actually write down my goals, and therefore I would never actually have a plan to what do I want to achieve. Instead, the mindset began to shift a number of years ago. Right. And a number of years ago, I finally started to bite the bullet and write down my goals. Yeah. And really, it starts with writing down our big lifetime goals. And once we have our big lifetime, breaking those down to annual, taking the annual, breaking it down to monthly, taking the monthly and breaking it down to weekly, taking the weekly and breaking it down to daily, taking the daily and breaking it down to hourly. And I'm going to tell you today, right now, this is in my schedule to be here with you. And when I am done, I'm going to check it off and give myself a little pat on the back. And go, dude, you did something else today. Yeah. And by the time I'm done my day, I will have accomplished so much in my day today that I will have no choice but to feel good about what I did. And look, we're not saying everything's sunshine and lollipops. There's going to be BS that happens. There's going to be problems that happen. There's going to be a lot of people that tell me no today. Hey, that's cool. The more people that tell me no, the closer I'm getting to a yes. The more I do, the better I feel. And I am not going to spend, my wife said this to me the other day. I was frustrated about something, and forgive me, I'm not going to coin this perfectly, but she said, it's like, if you had $34,690 and you lost $10, would you throw the other $34,680 away? And I'm like, hell no.
Yeah.
She goes, so why are you letting 10 seconds of your life ruin your entire day?
Right.
And I was like, whoa, drop the mic on that one. To me right away, I went, she's absolutely right. So now when we go through our day, yeah, stuff happens. But by the end of the day, when I can tally up exactly what I accomplished and I can look at it and say, I won my day. Well, if I'm winning today, and again, I plan to win tomorrow, and then I go and I execute and I win tomorrow, well, I'm getting closer to winning my week, which means we're getting closer to winning our month, which means we're getting closer to winning our year, which means I'm getting closer to achieving what I ultimately want in life.
Right, exactly.
So as we move ahead, two big keys here are, guys, right now we are in a moment. Okay, we are in a moment today, right now, where it is time to set those goals. It is time to put that plan into action. Because if you don't, I'm telling you now, you will be the person that buys a Peloton on December 31st.
But here's the other thing. You could just take pen to paper and do one piece of paper with your goals. You could do a whiteboard with your goals. You could do what I do sometimes, which is I take a MAC lipstick and I write my goals on one of the mirrors in my bathroom. Because then I can, I can clean that up and remove it like next month or whatever. But if I want to really get something accomplished, I literally take lipstick, bright pink, and I write it on there. I mean, there's just so many ways that you can set goals without feeling overwhelmed. And I think that's the number one thing I'm hearing from agents right now is they're overwhelmed. They're feeling burnt out. They're getting way too much content thrown at them. I will be the first one to tell you, I do mute people on Instagram sometimes because they're at the top of my feed so much that it's so hard not to want to tap on it. And yet I know it's just going to be like a rabbit hole of nonsense that I don't want to really deal with. And then it's distracted me and I can get distracted. I'm a true Aries girl. And, I seriously, and I say that jokingly, but it comes with its challenges or a little mild ADD where focus is exhausting because you're focusing on focusing. And I think there are certain things in our industry that we don't talk enough about. That would be one of them. A lot of agents deal with ADHD and ADD and things like that. The other thing is the anxiety and depression that is rampant in our industry due to financial concerns, due to dealing with buyers and sellers, and then buyers and sellers that might be super difficult or a super challenging transaction or a crappy ass agent on the other side of a deal, that just takes that brain space away from you. And the highs and lows of deals falling apart, deals happening, it's a tough industry, and new agents in particular, I think, have a really tough time. And so some of the things that you're saying right now, I think really will resonate not only with seasoned agents, but also the new agent who's just overwhelmed with content and suggestions and things to do.
Well, okay, go back through the roadmap we just laid out, right? First of all, we're starting our day without looking at the pollution.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be, I'm not going to be as apt to fall into the depression, anxiety part because I'm not looking at what everybody else is doing. I got my blinders on to start my day.
Right.
So I'm getting my mind right. Now, where we went with goals right down to our hourly achievements, that's the next part of, again, making sure that we stay in control of what's going on. Look, overwhelmed, we're all going to feel overwhelmed. Even when I know exactly what I have to do in a day, some days it just feels overwhelmed. That said, with the ADD and the ADHD and all these squirrels that we're seeing and all the technology and all the, oh, ding, my phone just went off. I better reply. Oh, wait a second. Here's where it goes. If I gave you an address right now and I said, Michelle, meet me at 123 Anywhere Street, but you got no idea where it is, what would you do?
I'd be looking it up for directions on Google Maps.
Done. And then get into your car and say start, right? and it would say, go here and go left, and you'd go left. Now, once you take that first left turn, would you just start driving wherever you want, or would you pay attention to what it's telling you, which the next turn is?
Pay attention.
Of course we're going to pay attention. So this is where the goals, okay, this is where the goals map right back down to our daily action, our hourly action items. Because what's going to happen now? I'm doing this with you. I've got time in my schedule to do this. Like I said, when I am done, I'm going to mark it complete. What happens after that? Do I just keep driving, like wherever I want? No. I go right back to the roadmap and I go, tell me where my next turn is.
Right.
And so in order to stay on track for what we want to accomplish and what we want to do, again, do we see where, the goals map right out to what is the roadmap?
Right. Exactly.
I'm not going to drive aimlessly. I mean, look, when I'm on the Harley, we drive wherever we want. There is no mapping. There's no nothing. We just ride. But that's not how we run our business.
No. And I think that's a great touch point. Start your day with you, not worrying about what other people are doing. Coordinating your time, your connections, and your relationships, and setting some goals that work for you. Like my goal right now personally is to do 5,000 steps a day. That's not a big goal. I had somebody say to me the other day, I don't know who it was, said, well, 5,000 steps really isn't that much. I'm like, it's a lot to me. I wasn't moving that much, as much as I should be, because I'm working so much. I'm working on Boca. I'm working as a realtor. Mm-hmm. And, and by the way, I was sick this summer. I'm just going to leave it there. That's all I'm going to say. I was sick. And I shared that with you. And it took me quite some time to feel better. And I don't put all that stuff out there. So I had to reframe what my end of third quarter was going to look like and what my fourth quarter was going to look like. And I feel like I'm back, but I had to sit down and think about my goals and what was important to me and what wasn't important to me and go back to some of my basics. So I think this is going to help a lot of agents right now. I want to segue real quick, but let me just plug my phone in because I want to make sure I don't die. Here, hold on one second.
No problem. While you do that, I'm just going to bring this up real quick too.
Yeah.
When you say that you want to do 5,000 steps, and for everybody tuned in, not
That's
just the
2.2 miles, by the way. And by the way, I've hit that goal plus probably an additional 1,000 to 2,000, not on my phone, since Sunday. Because I'm being very focused on it.
We've got point A where we started. We got point B, which is 5,000 steps. I want you to think about everything you need to do in between. How are we bringing that to life? This is called an action plan.
Yeah.
We're going to create a step-by-step process. So write down. Point A is where I am. Point B is 5,000 steps. In there, now I'm going to itemize and go, well, what is holding me back? Well, I'm busy. Okay, busy doing what? Okay, what breaks in my calendar do I have to put the workout
exactly.
in? Okay, schedule the workout in there. Now I'm going to go do it. So again, if we, by laying out an action plan, a 5-step, and I take my clients through this all the time with my coaching clients, but by laying that out, now we bring it to life. It's not just a line on a piece of paper.
No, it's not. And the funny thing is, this is the same thing that we can do in our real estate business, guys. So my thing is working with real estate niches. I work with probate niches, I work with seniors that downsize, and I work with some divorce. But my two main ones are probate and seniors that downsize. I've been doing this for many years. And during that time frame, I personally put together a course that I really had been thinking about for years and just didn't have time to do. So I put together that map idea and said, okay, if I do this and I do this, and I can do this and this and this, and I got it done. Well, same, and by the way, it goes to what my root focus is in my business, which is I like to list. Love to list. Love to list. That is my thing. I love to list, and I love to list with people who really need my help. Well, so that is probate and seniors. They need help. Their families need help. I'm passionate about it. But when it comes to my personal side, I like to have fun and everything. And then I'm like, damn, those jeans really don't fit. And, I really need to start focusing on my health because I'm in my 50s, and that's super important right now. And the funny thing is, now I'm getting up and I'm looking forward to walking in the morning. And I thought, well, if I do 2,500 steps in the morning, then I can do another 25 at the end of the day. And then what am I doing in between Well, I'm stepping in between, but let me make sure I have my phone like at least on me somewhere that's tracking it, because my Fitbit's not working. And I'm looking forward to it. And I said to my daughter this morning, I said, you know, when we walked last night, because I needed to get that number, I said, I slept so great last night. It was awesome. So
You're eating right, you're doing right for the body. It's amazing. And then one more thing I'll put into
yeah,
that is, when you're not walking with somebody, throw some earbuds in your ear, throw on your favorite podcast or your favorite book, and learn. Because we are so good at feeding our
totally.
bellies when we're hungry, but we don't think enough about feeding the brain.
Exactly. So I love what you're sharing today. And, you know, everybody, please follow David here on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to his podcast. It's on iTunes and all the great podcast platforms that are out there. Couple fun things. I always like to ask my guests on In the Hive, if you could break bread with someone in your past, maybe they're not with us anymore, or alive, current, who might that be and why? And what would you eat?
Well, I will say, I think my favorite food revolves around the letter P. It's both pizza and popcorn.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and I know beer stands with a B, but it rhymes with P, so I'll take beer as well.
Okay.
So that kind of works for me in terms of food. Who would I break bread with? I mean, you know,
Can be more than one person if you want.
like if I put a good thought into that, I'd probably start rhyming through like some some of the athletes that I follow, some of those folks there, and really learn from them more from that type of my world. But I think that, the first name that came to mind when you said that, and I know this is not, for some groups this is a very popular option, and for other groups are like, what?
Mm-hmm.
But Grant Cardone would probably be right up there for me right now.
Oh, that's
Cardone.
funny. Okay.
I think he's got some wicked fire that he spits. I think that, again, he's very brash with the way he comes off on social media. But if anybody's ever tuned into his books and listened to him, very genuine, humble moments, and there's some very good learning opportunities. When it comes to a guy like me, and it comes to personality and needing that fire, he's definitely a guy that really brings the fire for me. And so there's a guy I'd love to sit down and be able to have a real, genuine, authentic conversation with.
I think we lost you.
We are frozen.
You there? Let's see.
You still there, Michelle?
Hold on. David froze. So what I'm going to do is hopefully he'll jump back on here, and we'll invite him back on so he can share with us a little bit more on his, who he would break bread with, dead or alive, or, someone he admires. And there we go. And we're back. Almost back.
We're back. Are we here?
We're back. And see, this is why I now screen record everything.
There you go.
All right. So Grant Cardone.
So Grant Cardone would be the guy. Bottom line, he brings a lot of fire for me. He fuels me. He's got some great stuff there. If I don't know where I got cut off here, but if you do read his books, although he comes off one way on social, if you read the books, they start to get very humble, very genuine. And there's a lot of learning there. Now, outside of the fact that he's got a book that he sits on a jet plane engine and kind of does that, which is, way too much for a lot of people. He actually owns the plane. And so there's something to be said about that, and it's how did somebody get there? And so right now, that's one guy that comes to mind. But, if I really thought about it further, I'd probably start listing off some athletes. I mean, Gretzky would be right up there for me.
Of course.
Wendell Clark, who I've had the opportunity to play some hockey with, I'd love to sit down with him. I mean, geez, I'd go like Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Wayne Gretzky. I'd love to sit down with those guys.
So make it happen. Make it happen,
Working
my friend.
It.
There you go.
Working for it.
And then, I know a lot of people, want to know, if you had a choice to live anywhere other than where you live in the world, because obviously we are real estate related folks, where might that be?
Well, it's funny, as you say that, I see somebody who just popped on from Costa Rica, and I know that I was talking to somebody else this morning about Costa Rica. And Costa Rica is definitely on my place of
there.
We honeymooned in St. Lucia, which
Oh,
I fell
nice.
in love with.
Yeah.
And, Jamaica's a favorite spot too, because you can drink the water. And I say that in all seriousness, when you go to a lot of the islands, you don't have that opportunity. But I will tell you, being from Canada, first of all, I love being from Toronto. Beyond that, though, I would tell you that the Rocky Mountains are definitely probably my favorite place in the entire world.
They're
They are
beautiful.
gorgeous to look at, both winter and summer, and the
Oh,
roads for the
that's true.
motorcycle are
Good
the
point.
absolute best. So
Point.
that's definitely right up there for me.
You might want to the Bahamas, not Nassau particularly, but some of the other islands in the Bahamas, Bimini, Harbor Island, Sansel. There's Eleuthera. I mean, there's some really cool, beautiful islands in the Bahamas too, by the way. And
I've been to Bahamas,
we
beautiful
were in
water.
the Dominican Republic, Casa de Campo, a few years ago for a birthday for someone in our family. We have a big Italian family, and it was magnificent, really beautiful. So that's cool. Well, I so appreciate you being on today. This has been a lot of fun. And, it's funny how our paths have crossed. We have some very good mutual friends, and it just ironic and funny. And we both ended up doing the NAR thing and connecting more humanly on social media, which is
Well, I think that the power of it for everybody, is the more you connect with people. I mean, you and I, we haven't actually met in person.
no,
Yeah, we're buddies, and
we're
like
buddies.
when we do meet in person, it's not going to be like, well, nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. Like we're just going to pick up from wherever we left
I'm
off.
gonna be. Can
The
you
minute before
please
we
bring
started.
me some Smarties and a Molson?
Yeah, I'll trade you for a palm tree.
That's easy for me. I can do that. Maybe I'll ask for some Macintosh toffee. How about that? All my childhood faves, like I, fries and gravy. How about that?
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
remind everybody where they can find you, and we'll close this out.
Absolutely. Connect with me. I mean, you can find me all over the intranet. So if you go to mindshare101.com is my website. There's actually a free marketing bundle for realtors there. So I encourage everybody, go to mindshare101.com, download your free, the ultimate marketing bundle for realtors. It's 31 pages. It's a free ebook, a resource guide for you. There's a 90-day content calendar in there. So I encourage everybody, go to the website, download that. Beyond that, here on Instagram, David Greenspan 101. On Facebook, Mindshare 101. Again, YouTube is Mindshare 101. And the podcast, which is available on all of your major podcast platforms, is called the Mindshare Podcast, Marketing and Sales Strategies for the Real Estate Industry. So tap in, tune in, check me out, follow me, share, connect, all the
Just
above. And
not
I
first
look
thing
forward
in
to
the
hearing from everybody.
morning. Just not first thing in the morning. Version, and I'm so excited that you were able to share some really great learning nuggets with my audience today. I so appreciate your time.